It is normal for archaeologists to find common artifacts such as scrolls, tablets, and ancient tools as they dig through history's remains. But every now and then, they stumble upon something that defies logic. Technologies so advanced for their time that they make us question everything we thought we knew about ancient civilizations. Were our ancestors more genius than we give them credit for? Did they possess knowledge that was lost to time? From ancient computers to mysterious batteries, these 15 forgotten technologies will make you wonder if history books are missing a few crucial chapters. Buckle up, because these discoveries are about to blow your mind. Number 15. The Baghdad Battery. In the 1930s, archaeologists in Iraq uncovered something completely unexpected. A 5.5-inch clay jar containing a copper cylinder with an iron rod inside, all sealed with asphalt. At first, it seemed like an ordinary storage vessel. But in 1940, Wilhelm König, the director of the National Museum of Iraq, proposed a radical theory. This was an ancient battery. He suggested that when filled with an acidic substance like vinegar or lemon juice, the device could generate an electric charge, possibly for electroplating gold onto silver. In fact, modern replicas of the battery confirm it could produce small amounts of electricity, though not very efficiently. Skeptics argue that there's no historical evidence of ancient Mesopotamians using electricity, and that the jar was likely just a storage container. If it really was a battery, it means humans stumbled upon electrical power 1,800 years before Benjamin Franklin flew his kite. But without more evidence, the true purpose of the Baghdad battery remains unknown. So, technology is not a new concept. Number 14. Greek fire. History has given us some terrifying weapons, but Greek fire might be one of the most nightmarish. Used by the Byzantine Empire, this incendiary weapon didn't just burn. It clung to surfaces, spread uncontrollably, and ignited on contact with water. If you were on the receiving end of it during a naval battle, good luck. The formula for Greek fire was such a closely guarded secret that not even the Byzantines' enemies could reverse engineer it. Some theories suggest it contained petroleum, sulfur, quicklime, or even phosphorus, but no one has been able to perfectly replicate it. Attempts to recreate it today either burn out too quickly or fail to ignite on water. Whatever the formula was, it gave the Byzantines an almost supernatural advantage in naval warfare, turning the sea into a flaming battlefield. Somehow, despite all our modern technology, we still don't know how they did it. Number 13. The 500-million-year-old hammer. In 1936, Emma and Max Hahn were on a walk in London when they stumbled upon something odd, a rock with a wooden handle sticking out. Curious, they cracked it open and found something even weirder, a hammer encased inside the stone. Archaeologists later examined the artifact and, according to some accounts, dated it to over 500 million years old. That number is impossible by every historical standard. 500 million years ago, life had barely made it out of the ocean, let alone started building tools. Even stranger, the hammer's wooden handle had started turning into coal, and the head was made of 96% pure iron, which is far purer than anything that could occur naturally. So, where did it come from? Some believe it's evidence of an advanced civilization predating recorded history, while others argue it's a natural geological process that just makes it look ancient. Without further testing, the mystery remains. Number 12. The ancient plains of Quimbaya. The Quimbaya civilization, which flourished in modern-day Colombia around 1000 AD, left behind artifacts that continue to puzzle archaeologists. Among them are small golden figurines that look eerily similar to modern airplanes, complete with propellers, stabilizing tails, and landing gear-like structures. Mainstream historians claim they were just stylized representations of birds or insects. but engineers who have studied them argue that their aerodynamics are too precise to be accidental. Some theorists suggest that the Quimbaya had knowledge of flight, while others take it a step further, claiming extraterrestrial influence. To test the idea, modern engineers built scaled-up models of the artifacts, and shockingly, they flew. That doesn't necessarily mean the Quimbaya were designing aircraft, but it does raise the question, did they know something about aerodynamics that we assumed was only discovered centuries later? Number 11. Damascus steel. For centuries, Damascus steel swords were considered the pinnacle of blade making. They were razor-sharp, flexible, and nearly unbreakable, making them the ultimate weapon in battle. Warriors who wielded them had an instant advantage, but at some point the technique to create them was lost. Unlike modern steel, Damascus steel contains carbon nanotubes, giving it an unmatched combination of strength and flexibility. The secret lies in the unique forging process, which has been lost to time. Despite countless attempts, modern metallurgists have failed to perfectly replicate the original formula. Some claim it was due to a specific ore source that no longer exists, while others believe the technique was an ancient trade secret that died out with the blacksmiths who perfected it. Whatever the case, the original Damascus blades remain one of the greatest lost technologies of the ancient world. All right, now, let's move to Number 10. The Lycurgus Cup. At first glance, the Lycurgus Cup, a 4th century Roman glass vessel, doesn't seem out of the ordinary. But shine a light through it, and something incredible happens. The cup changes color. In normal light, it's green, but when backlit, it turns deep red. Scientists eventually discovered that gold and silver nanoparticles were embedded in the glass. These particles, at just 50 nanometers wide, scatter light in a way that creates a color-changing effect. This discovery means the Romans were unknowingly working with nanotechnology over 1,600 years ago, a concept modern scientists only began exploring in recent decades. How they managed to create such precise nano-sized particles without advanced equipment is still a mystery. The technique was never documented and has never been replicated in its original form. It raises a big question. How many other lost technologies from the ancient world are still waiting to be rediscovered? Number 9. Göbekli Tepe. Archaeologists love a good mystery, and Göbekli Tepe is one of the biggest. In the 1990s, German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt dug up what looked like a massive ancient temple in southeastern Turkey. The problem? It was over 11,000 years old. That's 7,000 years before the pyramids, and long before humans were supposed to be building anything this advanced. The site consists of huge stone pillars, some weighing up to 20 tons, arranged in circular formations. The carvings show animals, strange humanoid figures, and abstract symbols. Some experts say it was a religious gathering place, meaning people might have been coming here to worship before they even figured out farming. Others argue it could have been a settlement or even an early city. Either way, someone, somewhere, with no cities, no metal tools, and no written language, built a complex site that still confuses modern experts. If that doesn't shake up history, what does? Number 8. The Antikythera mechanism. In 1901, sponge divers exploring an ancient shipwreck off the coast of Antikythera, Greece, stumbled upon a corroded lump of metal. It didn't seem like much at first, but when archaeologists examined it, they found something extraordinary. A 2,100-year-old mechanical device, now known as the Antikythera mechanism. This intricate system of gears, dials, and inscriptions is believed to be the world's first analog computer, designed to predict astronomical positions, eclipses, and planetary movements. Its complexity is mind-blowing. Scientists have compared it to an 18th century clock, but it predates those by over 1,400 years. Nothing like it exists in ancient records, making it a complete anomaly. Some researchers believe there must have been earlier versions, yet none have been found. How did ancient Greeks develop something so advanced? And why was such technology seemingly lost for centuries? It's a mystery that still leaves experts in awe. Number 7. Egyptian blue. The ancient Egyptians weren't just master builders, they were also master chemists. Thousands of years before modern science, they created Egyptian blue, the world's first synthetic pigment. Unlike natural dyes that fade over time, this one has stood the test of time, keeping its vibrant hue on tomb walls and statues for over 4,000 years. Despite being one of the oldest man-made colors, the exact method of its production remains a mystery. Modern scientists have managed to replicate a similar pigment, but the original technique and exact recipe are unknown. What we do know is that Egyptian blue contained calcium, copper, silica, and alkali, and it had some strangely advanced properties. It even emits infrared radiation under certain conditions, something the Egyptians obviously didn't intend, but somehow managed to create. So, how did an ancient civilization develop such an advanced material without modern chemistry? That's a question still waiting for an answer. Number 6. The Mesoamerican long count calendar. The Maya civilization had a knack for blowing minds with their understanding of time. Unlike simple day-to-day calendars, the Mesoamerican long count calendar was a mathematical masterpiece that tracked time in massive cycles, each lasting roughly 394 years. What's most impressive isn't just the scale, but the unbelievable accuracy. The calendar was so precise that its calculations of the solar year rivaled those of modern astronomy. Some researchers even believe the Maya had a deep understanding of planetary movements and could predict astronomical events with eerie precision. Yet, despite all this sophistication, we still don't fully understand how they developed it. Did they base it on generations of skywatching? Or was there some lost knowledge at play? While some people went full conspiracy mode and thought the world would end in 2012, scholars are still trying to piece together just how the Maya became such time-keeping geniuses. Number 5. Archimedes' heat ray. Archimedes, one of the greatest minds of the ancient world, wasn't just a mathematician, he was a walking, talking superweapon developer. Legend has it that during the siege of Syracuse, circa 214 BC, he devised a way to set enemy ships on fire using sunlight and mirrors. The idea? Soldiers positioned bronze shields or polished mirrors to focus sunlight onto Roman warships, turning them into floating bonfires. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but here's the problem. No one has been able to prove it worked. Even modern attempts to recreate it have had mixed results. Some say it was ancient propaganda, while others argue it could have worked under the right conditions. Regardless of whether the heat ray was real or just a legend, Archimedes' understanding of optics, geometry, and physics was way ahead of his time. Real or not, it proves the ancient Greeks were thinking far beyond their era. Number 4. Qin Shi Huang's tomb. The first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huang, wasn't one for simple burial plans. His massive tomb, constructed over 2,000 years ago, is rumored to contain rivers of flowing mercury designed to mimic the waterways of China. Ancient texts describe an underground palace, complete with booby traps, constellations made of pearls, and a mercury river system, a setup that sounds more like a villain's lair than a tomb. Modern scans have detected unusually high levels of mercury in the soil, suggesting that at least part of the legend might be true. So why haven't archaeologists opened it? Because mercury is highly toxic, digging into a possible ancient chemical death trap is risky. Until the right technology is developed, the tomb remains sealed, untouched, and full of questions. For now, the emperor's secrets stay buried. but they might be even more incredible than we think. Number 3. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon are one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, yet no one knows if they actually existed. Said to be built by King Nebuchadnezzar II around 600 BC, the gardens were described as a lush paradise filled with exotic plants, towering above the arid landscape. Historians claim the gardens had an advanced irrigation system that brought water from the Euphrates River up to the highest levels, something that shouldn't have been possible with the technology of the time. But here's the catch. There are no surviving Babylonian records of the gardens. Everything we know comes from later Greek and Roman writers, none of whom ever saw them firsthand. Were they a real engineering marvel, or just an exaggerated story? Some believe the gardens were actually in Nineveh, not Babylon, while others argue they were a symbolic legend rather than a physical place. Either way, the mystery remains unsolved. Number 2. Roman concrete. Ancient Rome wasn't just known for gladiators and emperors, it was also home to some of the most durable architecture in history. Structures like the Colosseum, Pantheon, and aqueducts have stood for over 2,000 years, while modern concrete crumbles in a few decades. The secret? Roman concrete is a mix that has baffled scientists and engineers for years. Unlike today's cement, which weakens over time, Roman concrete actually gets stronger as it ages. The key ingredient seems to be volcanic ash, which reacts with seawater and creates a self-healing effect. Researchers have tried to reverse engineer the recipe, but no one has been able to fully replicate its durability. How did the Romans figure this out without modern chemistry? That's still a mystery. What we do know is that their structures aren't going anywhere anytime soon, while modern buildings might need repairs in a few decades. Maybe it's time to start taking notes from ancient Rome. Number 1. 500,000-year-old spark plug. Imagine cracking open a rock expecting to find glittering crystals, but instead, you find a spark plug. That's exactly what happened in 1961 when 3 rock hunters in Olancha, California, split open a so-called geode and found something that should not exist, a machine part encased in stone. One of the discoverers, Virginia Maxey, claimed that a geologist examined the surrounding material and estimated it to be 500,000 years old. That would mean an advanced tool was buried long before humans were supposed to have even discovered fire. But here's the problem. The geologist was never named, and the artifact mysteriously disappeared before any serious testing could be done. Skeptics argue it was just a modern spark plug covered in fast-forming concretion, while others insist it could be proof of a lost civilization or even ancient technology. With no artifact to study, the truth is as buried as the spark plug itself. If you find this video interesting, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.